What's going on? Welcome back to a new episode of Zero to Racer. My name is James, and in this series I'm basically going from zero, never having raced before, to trying to become a racer here in Ireland. And if you watch my last episode, you will see that we started racing after 9 weeks of proper training. We finally started racing, and I did better than I expected. I probably did better than anybody expected. There was some people out there that were telling me, man, you're good enough. Even my coach Dara was saying I'm good enough to win races and to do well in races.
I would say podium should be very doable, just looking at numbers alone. I would say a long-term goal, once that's achieved, is winning a C3 race and then getting yourself up to C2.
So, I suppose I was the only person that was very surprised by the results I got, I suppose. But yeah, in Kanturk, finishing first, finishing 12th, a DNF and 24th in a time trial. That's not some bad results to be getting in my first weekend of racing. And as well, this past weekend, I did my first crit race up in Limerick. That was just 1 hour of absolute full gas. There's so many 90-degree corners where we're racing on the small roads inside Limerick City, and trying to steer some really, really tight corners, and you're just trying to send it through the corners so that you don't lose speed. You're trying to keep close to wheels. So it was a very new experience for me, and yeah, it definitely humbled me a lot, and it definitely took a lot out of me. So the plan for today's video is that we've got a double session ahead of us. So we have a bike session and we have a gym session, because there's been a lot of people asking me, what does my gym work look like? So in this video I'm going to walk you through a full gym session, show you how it looks. And I suppose when it comes to my gym training, I usually train twice a week. But last week when I was racing in Kanturk, I didn't actually go to the gym because I did a league race on Wednesday. So there's no gym around that, and then obviously there's only a couple of days rest until I was racing in Kanturk. So while I'm racing, I'm hoping to get into the gym at least once a week. But then for the past 9 weeks, I've been training twice a week in the gym to make sure that I'm working on my strength and getting all those movements done. And I suppose this weekend as well, we're racing again. So we're heading up to Kilrush and Clare because we're doing our second ever stage race, the Cotter Cup. So that's going to be another exciting weekend ahead. So what's ahead of us there is that we have Saturday, we have an 88 kilometer race, we have a 7 kilometer TT, and then Sunday we have another 80 kilometer race as well. So that's going to be a good weekend. I'm looking forward to it. After the crit race, I'm excited to get back to some road racing again, because I definitely think I enjoy the road racing more than the crit racing at the moment anyways. So that's the plan for today. So today's session is actually fairly simple enough. It's a 2-hour session. So while we have 20 minutes warm up, nice and steady, and then we have just 4 efforts then, 4 10-minute efforts, and that's at 289 to 223 watts. So that's not too bad at all. But I think there's a cadence setting here as well. So yeah, 70 to 90 RPM as well, which is not too bad actually. That should be okay. And then 10 minutes easy and cool down. So basic enough session. So obviously I'm not doing a lot of super high intensity stuff, seeing as I was racing Saturday and also racing at the weekend now for the Cotter Cup. So that's going to be another exciting weekend ahead. Yeah, so 2 hours, let's get done. The sun is out and it's kind of a little bit chilly. It's about 10 degrees right now for a Tuesday morning. It's not too bad at all, we'll take that. So the transition from just regular training to racing, it hasn't been too bad. I am definitely training a lot less now than what I was. My structured training has changed. Obviously it's all about recovery around races. The racing takes a lot out of the legs for sure, compared to my normal training. Even now today, I can feel it in the legs. They're not that they're heavy or sore or anything. It's just you just know that it's just you have a little bit of fatigue there, that they've been worked hard, and obviously I want to perform the best I can during racing, so that's why it's good as well having a coach. Dara manages all my training, so he knows what I need. Obviously I give him the inputs, I tell him how I'm feeling, where I'm at, and then he's structuring my training the right way for me.
about a 20-minute spin home now, so those efforts were pretty nice. It was actually kind of enjoyable. I think I'm more suited for that kind of like, you know, low cadence, just pushing the power, so it kind of felt nice for me. The first 3 efforts were sweet because I had a nice kind of gradual climb, but that last one, I had a gradual climb for the first kind of 5 minutes, and then I had like a bit of a downhill. So like my cadence was meant to be 60 to 70 RPM, but when I was on that downhill, I was like 95, close to 100 RPM on that one, so not ideal. But yeah, it's not too bad. The sun's kind of gone away. I was hoping it'd be a nice sunny day for the whole lot and develop my tan that I'm slowly getting there. I definitely have the cyclist tan now. Like if you look at me, I have it on the legs, I have it on the arms. So does that mean I'm a full-fledged cyclist now? Maybe so. I'm still trying to break into that category. It's all in my head though. I still don't see myself as like a proper cyclist yet, with this kind of wild, because it's all to do with your identity, like, you know what I mean? It's how you see yourself is the most important thing. Like if you see yourself as a loser, you're going to be a loser, but if you see yourself as someone who's a winner, you're probably going to be a winner, you know? So I mean, did I see myself as a race winner on the weekend? Not really, but I saw myself as someone who was going to go in there, have fun, enjoy it, and try and come out there with the best possible version of myself, and trying to be the best version of myself inside there, you know? So I suppose the best version of myself was winning a race. So, you know, I didn't have the expectation of like, right, I'm going to win a race here. It was like, I'm going to give my best here. That was the whole ethos going into that weekend in Kanturk last weekend. So that's going to be the same going into the Cotter Cup now again this weekend. You know, I'm not going to go in there saying, oh, I'm going to win the whole thing, I'm going to win a race. No, I'm going to go in there, be the best version of myself again, and just have fun. Like it's amateur racing, like it's not pros, like there's no stakes here, like, you know, it's you go have some fun, like you put a lot of work into these things, you know. So go in there, have a bit of crack, enjoy, meet new lads, and just give it your best shot, you know. If you turn up as the best version of yourself, then I mean, if that's a win, great, but if it's progress from last weekend, then that's great, you know what I mean? And obviously people are going to be saying, oh, you got to push on now after winning that first race. It's like, yeah, I'm just going to push on, trying to just keep being better than I was last week, like, you know. And that doesn't always mean winning, you know, like, because I could come up this weekend now against like far tougher competition, and it's like, if I don't win a race, it's a fact like, oh, I failed, I didn't get better. Or maybe I did, maybe we had a faster average spin, maybe I put out higher power maybe I got some power PRs, you know. So those are all little markers I'm going to be looking at. I'm not going to be looking at, oh, I got to win a race to determine whether I was successful or not, or if the weekend was a success. I'm going to go in and have a look at other markers, you know, getting through the race, holding on. These things are still all part of it, and learning, you know, and just positioning and all that stuff it's racecraft essentially. Like, you know what I mean? If I can improve my racecraft over these next couple of weeks and months, that's going to be probably more valuable than winning. Like, 'cause if you're going to be winning all the time, then I mean, can you learn much from that? Like, I learned more from the first day when I came 12th than I did on the day I came first. There was more lessons came out of that first race than the last race, you know. So same with the crit racing on Saturday. There was more lessons came out of that single hour than I think weeks of training, you know. So that's how valuable those things are. And if you look at them that way, it will get a little bit easier for you. Like, you know, don't be focusing on trying to chase all these success metrics that don't really matter.
So it's a couple of hours in the future and it's time to get our gym session done. So when I get to my local gym, Beefit Health and Fitness in Bandon, I usually just walk straight to the back of the gym and I grab the foam roller and I literally foam roll for the first probably 10-15 minutes. And this is a habit I've built up over the last couple of years, and honestly it's one of the best habits I've built since I've been going to the gym. So when I'm foam rolling, I just start from the bottom and I just work my way up to the very, very top. My whole aim here is to basically massage every muscle group that I can in my whole body with this foam roller. So starting off with rolling the calves, and like the whole aim here as well is just to cover the whole muscle group. So that includes like twisting my foot to make sure that I'm actually covering each side of my calf, like the right side, the center, the left. And then also as well making sure that I'm foam rolling from joint to joint. That's the most important part as well. Like don't just kind of cover a small portion of it. You want to cover as much of the muscle as you can and roll it for at least 20-30 seconds each side. From there it's a case of working my way up. The next one then I'm moving on to is my T-band, which is the side of my thigh. And this one is fairly painful if you're going to be starting off this. So if you are going to be doing this one is painful, so take it easy. Don't go full whack like I'm doing right now because I'm used to it. I've been doing this for a while now. I don't feel any pain anymore. But when I started doing this was complete torture. So again, 20-30 seconds on this side. So after that, moving on to the quad, and that's kind of where I spend most of my time. I'd nearly do about 45 seconds to a minute on each quad because it's such a big muscle, and obviously I'm using it so much in my training, so it can become tight and develop a lot of tension. So the whole aim here is making sure that I'm covering it from my hip all the way down to my knee and making sure I'm getting each side as well. So I'm rotating my thigh and moving my body so that I'm covering the whole thigh. So I want to cover all around the leg. That's my whole aim, is to cover as much of the muscle as I can. So after that we want to move into the inner thigh, and honestly this one is such an underrated one because there's so much tension can build up on the inside of your leg. It's like your adductor. So like doing this one, like going from the hip all the way down to the knee, this one is a massive game changer. You'll feel your leg will just be so much more free and your hip will just be so much free because there can be a lot of tension build up inside there that you actually don't realize, especially if you're doing endurance sports. A lot of tension builds up in the hips and in those parts of the legs that we usually wouldn't train or even foam roll. And as I said, we're working the way up. So like once the leg is done, move on to the glutes. So this is a kind of a weird one to try and roll this out. So I'm putting my leg up onto my knee here so that I can kind of hit it from a different angle. And then once the glutes are done, it's moving on to the back then, which is like the last muscle group that I'm going to be doing. So again, from my hips all the way up to as high as I can up to my neck. And again, I'm rotating my body here, trying to hit different parts of the lats and hit different parts of the back. Because if I just remain in one position, I don't want to be, covering a small part of my back, So that's why trying to just twist your body so that you can hit those different parts of the muscle will be so beneficial. And the same for the quads, calves, everything. You want to twist the joints so that you can actually hit the different parts of the muscles, and you'll get a much better foam roll overall instead of just kind of rolling over it once or twice. You want to do a proper job. And if you spend a good 10 minutes here, 10-15 minutes, you will feel drastically different after a couple of weeks. Like even if you do this just 2 or 3 times a week, you'll feel completely different in your lower body. Honestly, you'll feel so much more agile, so much fresher, so much more nimble, and your recovery will be way faster. Like you won't feel pain after tough sessions. Because I rarely feel DOMS now after like bike sessions or like gym sessions because I do this foam rolling so often. And the next step then is doing my mobility. So this is actually a routine that I've learned when I was playing GA. So we had an S&C coach and he had us doing the foam rolling and then he had us doing this mobility flow that I kind of do. So again, he was big on like you start from the bottom and you work your way up. And ever since I started doing this, like since he taught us, really, it's been a massive game changer for me. So this is how the routine goes. It's 10-15 minutes foam rolling, and I'll probably do 5-10 minutes of mobility then, and then I'd kind of go about my gym session then. So starting the mobility flow with the ankle, so pushing the knee as far forward as I can and pulling it as far back as I can while putting tension down through the knee so that I can actually properly stretch and work on the mobility. Then it's onto the knees. Again, we're kind of doing anywhere from 8, 10, 12, 15 reps on each. Then it's onto the hips, and we're doing the 1990s, and this is one of my favorite mobility exercises, honestly. Since I started doing this, my hips have felt so loose, so free, and almost so buttery, that just smooth feeling in your hips. Like before, after building up a lot of training, running, cycling, and weights, I had a lot of tension in my body, and I was just it was just not nice at all. And I suppose I didn't know how bad it was until I started doing this mobility and started doing this foam rolling, and I was like, man, I feel so loose and free after even just a couple of weeks, So that's why I'll spend a lot of time here. I'll do this for probably a minute or two and just going back and forth, and it really just kind of opens out the hips and just gets everything moving nicely, which is honestly a game changer. If you can add this in, you'll feel so much more nimble and just free in your hips. And after that, we move up the body then, and we're moving on to some of the world's greatest stretch. So reaching through. This one's a massive one because you're literally stretching almost your whole body, like your hip flexors, hamstrings, lower back, upper back, thoracic spine, it's a massive one. So I'll do like 10 reps of this on each side, and then it's into a cat-cow. So that's like the whole foam rolling and mobility flow, and I'll do that at least 2 or 3 times a week. Like when I was in the gym before, I was doing this like 4 or 5 times a week. Honestly, if you're doing any form of like intense training, I would recommend that you add this flow to your routine, even if it's a case of just do it at home. Like even before racing, before training, I'll do some form of mobility and foam rolling beforehand. Like when I'm on a race weekend, I'm foam rolling every day, even before it, after the races, because foam rolling just helps. It's almost like getting a free massage, You're just literally pushing the blood around the muscles again and breaking down any tension that's in there as well, and getting the stuff moving around. So getting into our main session, lower body, we always start with some form of squat movement. So today we got some front squats on the cards. So when I'm starting off the first exercise of any routine, I'll always do at least kind of 2 or 3, maybe even 4 warm-up sets. So I'll start off here, I'll do the bar, I'll add a small bit of weight, I'll do a few reps. So then I'll add a little bit more weight, do a few more reps. I'll just build up to my working weight, where I usually do maybe 3 to 4 sets. So today we're at a working weight, we're doing 60 kilos here, and the aim is to do 3 sets of 8 reps. Seeing as we're kind of like in the middle of the season as well, we don't want to be, pushing all out and going to failure. That's just kind of stupid. We want to be moving heavy weight, but making it look easy, move it well, move it fast. So once our main squat movement is out of the way, we move on to some form of deadlift. So this can either look like an RDL, some form of hamstring movement. Here I'm doing a single leg RDL. I really do enjoy these single leg RDLs. Really great for the hamstrings. And when I started doing this, when I did my first marathon maybe like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, I was doing these, and honestly, you just feel so much better when you're doing these. Like you can load up a stiff leg deadlift when you're doing both legs, but this one really isolates each leg, and especially when you're cycling, you're using one leg at a time. It's good to be adding in these single leg exercises. So single leg RDLs here, again, it's same setup. I'll do like 1 or 2 sets just to get used to the movement, and I'll load it up, and then we'll do I think this one I'm doing like 3 by 8 to 10 reps on each side. And the aim with these ones as well, you can really start to feel a great stretch in the hamstring, and when I'm down here at the bottom of the movement, I'm feeling a really good stretch in my hamstring and driving up, and that's kind of like our main hip hinge for the day. And then straight into some split squats. These ones absolutely suck. If you've done these before, you know how bad these suck. Again, just 1 set, no weights, and then we grab some dumbbells and we get ourselves going. So the aim with all these exercises, I try and make them look easy. Like I'm looking back at these videos, I'm like, man, these looked very easy, but they didn't feel easy. And that's exactly how you want to be training. You want to be training in a way that, yes, it looks easy from the outside, but when you're doing it, you're like, oh, this is tough, this sucks, because that means you're executing the movement very well, and you're actually training very well, while it's being difficult. Like if you look like you're absolutely completely struggling, then you're probably moving maybe a small bit too much weight, and that means your form probably isn't ideal. So like here, I'm making them look like they are super easy. I would probably definitely do more weight if I wasn't in the middle of a racing week, because if I loaded up these with weight, I would be feeling like shit for the next couple of days. So I think I got like 2 15-kilo dumbbells here, and I'm just doing, I think, 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps again. So they're kind of our main movements out of the way. Now we're going to move on to some like isometric and to some accessory work. So we got some Copenhagen planks here. So this is, I think every athlete in the world needs to be doing Copenhagen planks. If you want to build robust, strong hips, then this is definitely one of the main movements you need to be doing. Like I'm holding this, I think I do 3 sets of 30 seconds on each side, and I'm supersetting this then with kettlebell psoas hold. So this one is purely for the hip flexors, and when you're doing a lot of cycling, like when you're pulling that pedal back up, like your hip flexors are going to be engaged, and most people don't even train their hip flexors. So doing this, I'm doing an isometric where I'm just holding my knee as high as I can, holding this weight. So these ones, I think I'm holding it for like maybe 20 seconds on each side, so 3 by 20 seconds. And honestly, when you start doing these, you will feel that your hips will be so free and so loose, because that hip flexor, most people don't realize how tight that gets. So if you can train it, stretch it, put it through weighted exercises, it'll be a feeling that you've never had before, because you're so used to just being tight. But when you actually start to do these exercises and do these movements, you're going to be like, holy shit, I didn't know my hips could feel so free and so buttery. The last movement of the day then is a banded dead bug. And this one is all about just core control and core stability. So I'm pulling this band as hard as I can, keeping my arms as straight as I can. And then I'm extending each leg out one by one. But the whole aim here, and the most important part of this exercise, is keeping my back as flat as possible on the ground. Like if I'm arching my back, if someone can push their hand under my back, and that means I'm not doing the exercise properly. Like extending your leg out is not the main part of the exercise. So if you do want to start doing this, I'd recommend starting off with no band. Just have your hands up, slowly extend each leg out at a time, and keeping that focus on your back. Your back has to be completely flat. And this is a great one for cyclists, because just think of the position that you're in when you're on the bike, especially when you're handling, you're cornering, like you have to be in that really tight position. So this is really training yourself how to be in that position. So I think doing this, it's really helped with like my handling, and I'm much more confident on the bike because I'm so strong in that position. But that's a standard enough session, and that's kind of been the way I've been training for quite a while. Similar sessions to that, and like even before I started taking cycling properly serious, I was kind of training lower body like that already. So like how I used to train was like, I used to train lower body like an athlete, and I used to train upper body like a bodybuilder. Pretty much that's how I did it, because I wanted to be functional as an athlete, but also you wanted to get bigger and grow as a bodybuilder. So that's kind of how I was training before I started taking cycling seriously. So I've kind of been training like that already. So that's kind of where I suppose I get a lot of power from, is because I've trained like that for so long. And even before that, before playing Gaelic, I used to be doing a lot of heavy leg sessions, a lot of heavy deadlifts, heavy leg presses, all that stuff. So that's where I generated a lot of power, and I suppose I have kind of bigger legs because I've been training lower body so much. Even when I was in school, young lads always train their upper body religiously but never train lower body, whereas I was the guy who always trained lower body as well as upper body, and that's kind of where I developed kind of the bigger legs and the power from. It makes me slow on the J pitch, having bigger legs and bigger size, because you got to carry the weight around the pitch, but it seems to be translating nicely onto the bike. So yeah, that's standard session, and like you don't have to just copy my session. Like that's just kind of what I'm doing. Like you kind of adjust it for whatever you want to do. Like, and I suppose I'll do that session usually on a Friday. Today's Tuesday, racing on Saturday and Sunday, so doing this early in the week so that it doesn't affect me for the weekend. Like if I used to do this session on Friday, it definitely would affect me for the weekend, because I notice when I'm doing my regular training block, I usually do this session usually on either a Monday or Tuesday and on a Friday, and then I throw in a few upper body sessions in there as well. So yeah, that's kind of how it works.